you need to be like super prepared or anything?
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I accidentally clicked
Awesome.
record. No, I mean,
No,
those are like,
we need to record. Yeah.
those are
You're
the
good.
best episodes. Those are the episodes that do the best anyway. So the ones where you are literally just
Really?
chit-chatting. Well, on my show,
Yeah.
yeah, like the
Yeah.
ones where, like, shockingly, the ones where I felt like the least prepared because I like didn't have time to send an outline or get a prep doc are the ones that people are like, I love the episode. It was like hanging out with two friends. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
That's like the vibe that I'm going for is just hanging out with a girlfriend, like chatting about just the real shit. So,
the real shit.
yeah,
Okay, let you
the
get
real
started.
shit. And then if there's anything else that you want to talk about, we'll talk about your podcast, obviously, like talk about like your life and like what's going on and that. But if there's anything else, like feel free just to, say it.
Sure, sounds good. Yeah.
Okay,
All
awesome.
right, I'll let you
Okay,
get started.
perfect. Okay, we'll just go for it. Yeah, I'm excited. Okay. So I am so excited. I have Lina Forrestal on my podcast today. And I don't know if you know this, Lina, but you're actually one of the first like mom influencer creator friends that I met on Instagram.
I did not know that.
So I feel like I connected to you so much. I can't remember like how I started following you or if you started following me first and like how that all happened. But I remember just listening to your podcast when I was on maternity leave with my second daughter. I actually have a vivid memory just like cleaning out my medicine cabinet for some reason. And I was just like binging your episodes and I just felt so seen.
Oh,
And I'm like, who is this girl? Like everything she's saying is just so relatable. Your oldest, your son Archie, I think he's just a little bit older than Daphne, my little 3-year-old. So we have kids that are the same age. Lena is a working mom. She works in corporate. She just had her second baby, baby girl. She is also a content creator and the podcast host of the New Mamas podcast. Did
yes,
I
thank
miss
you.
anything?
No, that's about it. I live in New Jersey. I'm an East Coast gal. It is currently snowing to set the scene. My boobs are leaking. It is snowing. Um, both kids are home, so it's been good, but that's funny that we met. You know why we connected? I think I felt really connected to you because you are also a working mom, and it's actually kind of, I don't know, maybe this is my interpretation. I feel like it's rare in the motherhood creator community to have moms that also work full time. I feel like a lot of our peers are stay-at-home moms, so it felt like sometimes I would feel in the mom groups that I'm part of, like, the group chats. I don't know if you're part of any of these mommy blogger like group chats, but some of them I feel a little bit like behind or not seen because I'm like, I also have to juggle this like full-time job. But not to say that stay-at-home mom is not a full-time job. It's just a different full-time job. And all the
Yeah,
respect
it's
to
just
stay-at-home
different.
moms. Yeah, because I
Oh
did
my
it.
gosh.
Yeah, like yesterday. Did your kids have off yesterday?
My oldest did, but my little one still had daycare. Like we were still paying for it, so I still took her. I'm like, I have a few things I need to get done, and like my older daughter is obviously like way more independent. She can, get snacks herself if she needs to. She can play. She plays independently. So I had one home, but it didn't really feel like it.
That's good. Okay. That's
Yeah.
actually a kind of a hot, so that's actually kind of, I didn't know, like a hot topic of like when you have a day off, do you keep your kids home or do you still send them? And I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing, but I've always sent my son when I have a day off because it's my day off.
Right, right. And you're paying for it no matter what. Like daycare doesn't give you a refund, like if you just don't take your kid in. So you're paying for it anyways. And moms are already so burned out. We're always going, we're working, we're, doing laundry, like doing all the things, right? And so if you have the luxury of having a day off, even if it's just like a couple of hours to like take care of yourself and, go like just take a nap if you want to, or just binge watch a show, like that's going to refill your cup and that's going to make you a better parent at the end of the day.
100%. I am so there with you on that. Uh, yeah. Oh, shoot. I was gonna say something and then I forgot. Oh,
Oh,
on
mom brain.
literally mom brain. I think it was about working motherhood. The 4-day work week. Does your company do a 4-day work
Oh,
week?
I wish.
Me
Oh
too,
my
I
God. I
wish.
wish. I wish. I don't know. I honestly don't know of any companies that do. I have heard some companies do. I don't know which ones, but that would be amazing. Interestingly enough, so after my first daughter was born, I went back to work part-time. After my mat leave, I went back to work 4 days a week. And there were still only 8-hour shifts that I worked. So it wasn't 40 hours, so like 32 hours. And I was actually just as productive and got just as much done in that time as when I was 40 hours a week. And now I'm 40 hours a week and I work Monday through Friday, normal hours. I got the same amount of work done. I think about that all the time and I'm like, we've just got to do it.
Yeah. Well, because and like my coworkers and I talk about this all the time. So I work for a tech company. I work for Cisco. I don't know if that's okay to say on your podcast, but I work for a big tech
Yeah, of course it
company.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I work for a big tech company. I've been in tech for a decade, more than a decade now, because I'm older than I think I thought I was. But I just turned 35, everybody. Okay. I turned 35.
Oh, happy birthday. You did last week, right?
Yeah. And I looked at the number and
Oh,
I was like, wow, that's a big number. Like, but so my coworkers and I are all around the same age. We all have young children. And we talk about this all the time of where like the 4-day work week isn't like we want that fifth day to like lounge around and go on a spa trip, which we should do. And that is still important. However, that fourth day is realistically like a day to actually do laundry, catch up on dishes, go grocery shopping, do returns, go to Costco, like do all the mom slash parent things. So that way our weekends can actually be spent with our kids. Otherwise, we're like doing
yeah.
all that stuff on the weekends and it's like we don't get quality time with our family.
Yeah, we don't. Well, so I don't know about you, but my weekends typically look like Saturday is like our kid day. Like my kids have birthday parties or like we go and do an activity or something like that. And then Sundays, we're usually like cleaning up and doing laundry and running errands and going grocery, like all of those things. So it's like you actually don't get any days off. You get no rest days. Like there is not one day that I ever rest, except for when my kids go with their dad. I'll obviously have more time to like do those things, but for most people, they get no days off. And so it's just not good for your mental health. Just
No,
going, going, going. It's not good.
no, 7 days a week, 24/7. It like definitely leads to that burnout.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Burnout is like a whole other like topic I can talk about
Yeah, I was going
too.
to
Oh my
say,
gosh.
yeah,
Yeah. So are you on maternity leave right now, or
yes.
have you gone back to work? You are on
No,
mat leave.
I am on mat leave.
Oh, oh, you are on mat leave.
Why?
Okay. Okay, you are on mat leave. Okay, I was gonna ask how long. So you work for Cisco. They're a big company.
Mhm.
What is their mat leave? Can you can you talk about that?
Yes. So I have
Okay.
two different experiences to share on maternity leave. So with my son, 3.5 years ago, I was working for another company and I didn't qualify for FMLA, the Family Medical Leave Act in New Jersey, because you have to be with a company for 1 year to be able to qualify for that time off. I was with the company for 11 months. So I just missed the cut and I had 6 weeks of maternity leave. So my first time around, I went back to work, which I guess back to work is like a loose term because it was during COVID and everything was online, but still having to log on your computer with a newborn, literally 6 weeks, they're still attached to your boob or attached to the bottle,
Yeah.
whatever. Like that was miserable to say the least. And I worked for a company that wasn't very friendly with not young mothers. Am I young? Are we young? Well, you're young. I
You
think
are
you're
young.
young.
I'm
You're not.
33. I'm gonna be 34. So I'm just like a year younger than you, basically.
Okay, okay, good. Because
Yeah.
I was like, wait, are we still young?
We
No.
are still young. My parents are my mom's in her, well, hopefully she doesn't kill me for saying this, but she's in her late 60s and my dad's 70. So
Yeah,
you
but
know,
when you think of your parents, don't you
comparatively
think of
speaking.
yeah, when I think of my parents, I always think of them as like 55, and it's not true. Like my parents are around the same
Yeah.
age. So, anyway,
Yeah.
maternity leave, 6 weeks, absolutely miserable, didn't qualify for the FMLA, couldn't take more time off. So that really sucked. Now I work oh, I was talking about how they were not friendly. So I was on a meeting once, on a Zoom meeting, and Archie was like cooing. You know how babies make like all these like, like these
It's
like
so
cute little
cute.
noises.
I know, they're happy when they're doing that.
Yeah, he wasn't even crying. And a woman on the call, it was like a big call. She was like, whoever has that baby, please mute yourself. And I was just like in that tone, not like, aw, like we hear a baby, so cute. Just a reminder to me, like, I don't know, they could have like said it nicer, but she was so like mean. I remember like shaking, like putting myself on mute and like crying because I was so embarrassed. So that was my first experience. My second
Well, and
experience,
that was
yeah,
during,
go ahead.
well, and sorry, but like this was during COVID, right? So like
Yes.
literally everyone was working from home. It's not like
Yes.
it was pre-COVID or like right now where it's like childcare centers were open. Childcare centers were not open during COVID. And it
Yeah.
varied by location too. Like some states were different than others. But like I feel like the context of that, like people knew, at least my company, like we all knew that like we were working at home with kids because we had
Yeah.
to. There was no choice.
Yeah. It's like that quote, the like expecting like parent like you don't have work and then work like you don't have a family. There's like some quote like that. And it's like, yeah, it was truly shocking. Like there's just some terrible people in the world. That's all. That's all I'll say. But
Yeah.
so now I work at a company that has 4 months of maternity leave. So 17.5 weeks is like the official week amount. And it's kind of weird because I was I was actually pinging my team like a couple weeks ago, like, hey guys, what's going on? Like I was just like kind of bored because I don't know. And that's a weird it's a weird way to put it, but I felt like when you're a working mom and you're like stuck in this hustle, it's almost like when I didn't have meetings to go to, like projects to finish and deadlines and presentations, I felt like a weird, like, what do I do with my time? And of course, I have to take care of this baby. That's where all my time should go. But you know, when you're just like, oh, I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally different. It's a totally different feeling going from like constantly rushing from one thing to the next and literally not having any time for anything.
Yeah.
And then when you're slow down, it's like, what do I do with myself? And it's a luxury to be able to slow down. Like that's,
Yes.
I don't think that like for me, like I struggled with this when I go with when my kids go with their dad. It's like, oh, wait, I have all of this time now. They're with their dad for 5 days. Like I have things to do, but it's almost like now that I have a choice of what to do with my time, you don't know what to do because you haven't done that for 10
Ever.
years or whatever.
Do you
Yeah,
face
ever.
this like paralysis? Are you like paralyzed with like
Yes. Yeah. All the choices, it's like, oh my God, like I can actually choose what I'm doing today. And it's amazing.
choose?
Like that's a great place to be in for sure. But you're not used to it. And I think it really made me realize how much of myself that I had lost in motherhood when I was given that opportunity to like have time alone for extended periods of time. It's like, I don't even know who I am outside of my kids and my job.
And your job. Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
when
And my
you,
job because,
yeah.
yeah.
Like when you strip those two things away, it's like, who am I? Who am I really? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did
And
you
so
ever,
that was like a journey itself.
sorry, I think there's a bit of a lag. So I'm not,
No, you're okay. I know. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
no,
You're
you're
good.
good. I was gonna ask, do you ever feel guilty with all your, I'm gonna put this like free time in bunny quotes, like when your kids do go with their dad, do you feel guilty with like the time, like yeah, what are your feelings around that?
Um, I don't feel I don't feel guilty having time alone. And sorry if you can hear my dog. He's like kind of like starting to growl.
Oh,
Might
no, I
start
can't hear
barking.
anything.
Yeah, okay. He might start barking, but yeah, I don't feel guilty having time alone. I mean, I definitely feel guilty um, that my kids go with their dad and they're not with me and like maybe they're sad, like that is hard. But as far
Yeah.
as like the guilt for myself, like it doesn't feel guilty spending time on myself. I just had to figure out what that was. It was like, okay, like what are my hobbies? I don't have any hobbies. Like I don't know who I am anymore. And so trying to kind of figure that out as an adult and reconnect with friends. And that's like
Hmm.
a whole other thing too, like having mom friends and how to stay in touch with them. But that was a little bit of a challenge for sure.
How have you made mom friends? Sorry, this
um
is your podcast. I'm interviewing you, aren't I? I'm
no,
kidding.
you're good. No, I think it's
No, I'm
great.
curious. I'm genuinely
So
curious.
yeah, so before we talk about mom friends, though, I want to ask you about your 6 week maternity leave with your prior company when
Oh,
after
yes.
you had Archie. So was it paid or was it unpaid?
It was short-term disability and it was staggered. So I got like 80% of my pay the first week. Then the second week, I got like 60%. And then it went 50%, 30%, 20%. So as the weeks went on, I got like less and less of my pay, which is
Yeah,
crazy, which is
dang.
crazy. So when I went
It
back to
is
work
so
at six
crazy.
weeks, yeah. So when I went back, even if I had qualified for FMLA, and in New Jersey, I don't think we have paid. So some states have paid FMLA where they will pay you your salary. I think it's state funded, but New Jersey does not. And I would have just had those 12 weeks unpaid, which I don't think at the time we would have I would have even done because it was COVID. My husband was unemployed and we survived on my income. So, and of course, yeah, we had some savings and stuff, but you don't want to blow through your savings. So I think I would have gone back to work regardless of those 6 weeks. But yeah, that
Yeah.
was wild, wild times.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's so crazy. So the company I work for as well. So I work for eBay and they're a big tech company as well. So their
Yeah.
maternity leave it's 4.5. Well, it can be up to 6 months of
Nice.
like it's a combination of like your FMLA and then also your parental leave. So all parents get 3 months off. So dads will also get 3 months off, and you can use it however you want for that first year of the baby's life. So what some people will do is they'll stagger it. So it's really nice that they give you that flexibility. But when I tell people that's the maternity leave I got with both my daughters. They are like blown away. And I'm so grateful for the benefit because I cannot even imagine having to go back to work. I literally know someone, a couple of people actually, who had C-sections, went back to work the next week
No, that's
because
crazy.
they did not qualify for FMLA or anything. And this is here in Utah, and they could not afford to just be off for 3 months because you can get, I think the law is like you can get 3 months off, 12 weeks, but it's unpaid. But your
Yep.
job is secured for those 3 months. But most people can't take 3 months off unpaid.
That was exactly our situation was I couldn't as much as we wanted to, like it was COVID again and things were like unsteady. My husband was unemployed. Like you can't and even like even if he was employed, the cost of living these days is so high. I think it's
I
really
know.
hard unless your partner is like C-suite level or has some like big job. I think it's really hard to survive on one income.
Yeah, it is really hard. It's like I feel like it's like impossible these days. Or nearly impossible, that's for sure. Okay, cool. So how much longer of your maternity leave do you have then?
So it's currently January. I have until April, I think it's April 17th. I go back to work, so mid-April, and I've been off since November 20th. Yes, November 20th,
Okay.
I took off. So about like four
So
months.
Okay, so your daughter, so are you combining like paid time off or like vacation time or sick time with that, or is that just
I know,
the mat leave?
does that math not math?
I'm
I feel like
I'm
that
not
math
great at math.
doesn't, I feel like that math doesn't
I'm
math,
like April is like 4 months from now, or I mean
but
3 months from now, depending.
I had a
But you
month.
already took two,
Yeah, I don't know, but my
so that's
benefits
fine. That
thing,
would
so maybe I get five
okay. I'll
months
just go
off.
with whatever your
No,
benefits say.
no, yeah, so maybe I have 5 months. Shoot. See, I don't even know. Like the mom
Okay.
brain is so hard. No, I'm not combining any. of my PTO, which I have through Cisco. I get 2 weeks, I believe it's 80 hours. Is that math? That maths. 80 hours. It's
Yeah.
2 weeks. And then yeah, so I'm saving that for now.
Yeah. Smart.
Yeah.
You need it for, yeah. So, okay. So, and so your baby is 2 months old, almost 2 months old.
Almost 2 months. Yeah, I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm like, is she 7 weeks or 8 weeks? So she's 7 weeks. So second time postpartum. And I want to hear what your experience was too. Like, I feel like it's a lot easier than the first time in some ways. Like in terms of like feeling confident, I'm don't have postpartum. I had really bad postpartum anxiety my first time around, like intrusive thoughts, like literally thought someone was going to storm through the doors and steal my baby type intrusive thoughts, like scared to let my husband take care of him, would sob when my mother-in-law would come over and like hold him. I would like when she left, I would like cry because I thought like she was gonna accidentally kill him. Crazy postpartum anxiety stuff. So this time is a lot better. I'm also on medication though. So see, I'm throwing all the topics at you like all at once.
Yeah, no, I wanted to talk to you about this because
Yeah.
so we have a lot of similarities and I think this is probably why, or you probably talked about this on your podcast, but so I really struggled with postpartum anxiety with my first as well. And I had never growing up, I had never had anxiety, depression, panic attacks, nothing like that.
Wow.
And then after my first daughter was born, it was like so much anxiety. I would have panic attacks anytime I would go out of the house. I literally thought, like, same thing. I thought my daughter was going to get sick and die. And she was born in October. So it was basically like winter time when she was a newborn. I was so terrified of taking her out, her getting sick. There's one time she got sick and I was literally watching her for hours, just breathing, just watching her
Mm-hmm.
breathe up and down, like, because I was terrified she was going to stop breathing. And so I really struggled. And then with my second pregnancy and postpartum experience, I didn't have those thoughts and feelings, but I was also on medication. So I took
Yeah.
medication throughout my pregnancy. My doctor signed off on it. It was safe, all of that. So my experience was totally different the second time around. So it sounds like that's what your experience was too.
That totally tracks. And I
Yeah.
remember the what vividly the watching him sleep, like same thing, like watching the rise and fall of the chest. Like I don't know. It was definitely crazy. So around I think when my son was like 1 and then some, I survived without medication for one a lot longer than I had to. Than I should have. I should have if I knew, but I don't know. I didn't even really know it was an option. One, I didn't think I was like mentally sick enough, and I feel like that's a lot of moms out there that they are like, "Oh no, it has to be really bad." But then like you don't know what's really bad because you have nothing really to compare it to. So like when I look back, I'm like that was really bad. I was really sick. Should have been on medication from the get-go of my postpartum experience. And I'm actually kind of pissed at my doctors because I went in for that like 6-week checkup the first time around and I sobbed, like shaking with the nurse. Like, I'm so scared he's gonna die. I'm so scared of SIDS. What am I gonna do if he dies? I'm gonna kill myself. Like, I said those words, like, at the doctor's office. Like, I would, like, and they didn't really do anything. They were just like, honey, I don't want you to worry. He was born healthy. You're healthy. He's healthy. Everything's fine. It's very unlikely that anything's gonna happen. That wasn't like a good enough answer though for my like
No.
sick brain, you know?
If it was like that, like I just can't even imagine. Cause for my 6 week appointment, I went in and I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, you know what I mean? Because I was just like trying to like keep it together.
Yeah,
But I can't even imagine if you're like literally like pouring your heart out, you're sobbing, crying, like saying that these horrible things are going to happen. And they at least don't like refer you to someone or like the doctor, maybe they don't go straight to medication, like just a penny, but like I just can't even imagine them kind of
nothing.
dismissing that.
No, and I don't
That's wild.
I know. I don't know if maybe the discourse has changed a little bit over the last 3.5 years. I think there's a bit more awareness now with maternal mental health, especially with that case up in Massachusetts. I mean, I know
Yeah.
every mom's heard
Horrible.
of it. I don't
Yeah.
want to go into specifics, but I think especially after that case, I noticed this time around, my postpartum experience now, they were a bit more aggressive with the postpartum depression screenings, with the worksheet. I
Yeah.
still think they can do a better job, but they were a bit
Yeah.
more aggressive with talking about everything and emotions and hormones. So that was good. But anyway, yes, this time around, so I went on medication when my son was maybe 18 months, 20 months, something like that. I was on Wellbutrin, or no, I'm still on. I'm still on Wellbutrin, 150 milligrams extended release, because my psychiatrist basically explained like all of my symptoms was like I was dopamine deficient. So I had, the way she described it was my anxiety used up all of my dopamine. Like it fired everything all at once. So like I would wake up anxious. Like, right, you wake up and it's like, oh my God, the world is out to kill my kid. And once all those cylinders would fire, it would leave me, you have nothing left. Like you have a finite amount of those chemicals in your brain per day. And when they all fire at once, you're depleted for the rest of the day. So, what does that do? It throws you in a depressive state. So, all of a sudden, it's hard to do those little tasks, to do laundry, to make the kids lunch, to shower, to take care of yourself, to text back a friend. So, and then it becomes this vicious cycle, right? You like wake
Yeah.
up
You're just completely
anxious.
exhausted and depleted.
Yeah. So then once I went on Wellbutrin, it like, I think it's like, I remember going to it was like, I think 6 week, 8 week psychiatrist appointment. And I like, again, cried. I cry a lot, guys. I feel like I'm saying that, all, but I like cried and I was like, yeah, I feel like you saved my life, because I don't know how much longer I could have stood like in the state I was in before I had sought out medication. It was just so, every day was so hard. Like I feel like that's unsustainable for any human to wake up like that. So it felt like she saved my life. I remember like, you saved my life. And I think she got like a little teary-eyed, like over the Zoom that I could see. But yeah, it was a good. And I'm still on it. I was on it through my pregnancy, doctor cleared, same as you. Still on it. Breastfeeding, it's totally safe. I've seen no side effects in my baby. Everything went perfect for birth and
Yeah.
everything. So, yeah, I don't think I'll go off of it. Like, I remember being like, I'll go on medication for a little bit, right? That's what everyone says. Just go on it for a little bit
Yeah.
until you don't need it anymore. But I think I need it.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I've tried to go off of mine a couple times intentionally and then a couple times unintentionally. Like I'll forget to take my meds.
Yeah.
And then you start going through like the withdrawals and stuff, and it's like literal hell. My sister-in-law actually, she really struggled with her fourth baby. She really struggled with postpartum anxiety, but she had three other pregnancies and postpartum experiences before that. So she knew like this is not normal. This is not how it should be. So she did go on medication for a short time, maybe I don't know how long. But she went off of it. But she just, I mean, don't do this, you guys. Like if don't just like stop taking your meds, like talk to your doctor and like wean slowly. But she just like abruptly stopped and she's like, yeah, it was like the worst 6 weeks of my life. And now she, she's like, obviously like stabilized. This was like a couple years ago. Her daughter's the same age as mine, but I definitely couldn't do that.
I think,
I was also
yeah,
gonna
go ahead.
Yeah, I was also going to say, like, with my postpartum experience, I feel like they screen well, I don't know if I would say really well, but I feel like they screen more towards postpartum depression
Yep.
than anxiety. Because for
Agreed.
me, it was like, it's not like I couldn't get out of bed. Like, I would get out of bed. I was barely sleeping, like, even when my baby was sleeping because I was so anxious. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know what the screenings are like now, but it was definitely like that when I had both of my girls. It was definitely more towards postpartum depression.
It's still very skewed towards postpartum depression. I don't know why they don't put postpartum anxiety in there. I wonder if it's because it's not potentially, I don't know if this is true, but like not life threatening. Is it maybe because of that. I
I
know. It's
mean,
like, yeah, you're
like
like,
it could be
well,
life-threatening.
yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
right. So, yeah,
The
because
other
like,
thing,
yeah, go ahead.
sorry, I know this delay I think is like causing some issues. But so the other thing I was gonna say, okay, I think I just lost. Oh, the other thing I was gonna say is with my first daughter, looking back now that I know what like more of a normal postpartum experience is like, where you're not having those intrusive thoughts and you're not consumed by them and not having panic attacks. Now that I know what that's like, I feel robbed from the experience I had with my first daughter. Like I feel like I missed out on the first 6 months of her life. And that, like looking back at like videos and pictures, like like even to this day, like it just breaks my heart that I didn't have that experience. Like I didn't enjoy any of it.
I'm with you. Wow. We had very similar
Yeah.
experiences. I can't relate with that more. I also feel like this uh sense of loss almost with my son's newborn experience because it was so special, right? If you think about your first baby that you bring into this world, it's so special. And all I did was count down the days, the hours, the minutes until he got older and older when like SIDS
Yeah.
wasn't such a big fear. And like, I can't wait until he's sitting because his head is so like fragile, or I can't wait till he's walking. So like it was always like I can't wait till the next thing instead of being able to enjoy the moment. And it's not like so easy as people are like enjoy every minute or whatever people say to you,
Yeah.
which would always
Enjoy
grind me.
it because it's, yeah. I know what
Yeah,
you're
and
talking
like
about. Yeah.
yeah, you're like yeah, of course I want to enjoy it, but I can't because I am so yeah. I definitely feel robbed. I agree.
Yeah. Well, and there's a difference between like even with my second postpartum experience, it's not like I enjoyed every moment of it. Like I hated, her sleep was way worse than my first daughter, and so that was more of a struggle. And
Ooh,
but so
interesting.
I definitely didn't enjoy every moment with the second either, but I didn't like I could go out in the real world and not feel fearful that something terrible was going to happen and that like I would literally have panic attacks in public with my first daughter and like
Oh,
it
that's
was
so scary.
terrifying. So I just didn't leave. I just didn't leave my house. And then I was forced to when I had to go back to work because this was pre-COVID and I had to work at an office. And so I did have to go out. And like, thank God, because my boss at the time, we had on-site therapists at our office that the company paid for. And but
Hello.
like I was an hourly employee at that time. And I'm like, I only have a 30-minute lunch. So my boss graciously like knew I really needed help and was like, you can take an hour lunch. You don't have to make up time. Hopefully, well, I won't say who it was, but like it literally saved my life because if it wasn't for going to therapy, and I didn't have time to go to therapy
No.
like after work hours. And like that's like a whole other thing, like the guilt of being away from your child, especially when you're in a really fragile mental state. So thank God I was able to get help on site at the office. Because if it wasn't for the help of like my therapist, I would have probably never gone on medication because of the stigma that was there. So yeah, thank God for that.
Yeah, ooh, the stigma. I remember when I
Yeah.
took my first pill of my medication, I actually like took a picture and I like sent it to my friend and I was like, "Here we go." As if like if taking this pill I was gonna like explode into a million pieces because like I don't know. The stigma is so it's silly, and that's why I try to be as open as I can about it and try to make it like not weird. I think it's generational. I think like my parents' generation, like our parents' generation, it's definitely like, did you hear she's on medication?
Yeah.
Versus now we're
Or
like,
so and
oh,
so is like on pills or
on
yeah.
pills. Yeah, and now I'm like, oh, what do you want? Klonopin, Xanax, Wellbutrin, Zoloft? Which one? Which one do you do?
All
Oh,
of
how
it.
was your
Yeah.
trip?
People are
Yeah.
always that anytime I talk about mental health, people are always asking me like, what do you take? Like, and sometimes
Yeah.
I'm like hesitant to say, because everyone's situation's different and like you should definitely talk to your doctor.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely like a thing. And there's a lot of people out there that just need help. And there's nothing wrong with needing help. My only
Yeah.
regret is not getting on medication or getting help sooner because, again, I just feel like I was robbed of those first 6 months of my daughter's life where I just don't really remember a lot. And I know that I was just miserable that entire time. So
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with needing help. Like, you deserve to live a beautiful life. You deserve to live the life that you want to live and to be happy. And if that means taking a pill, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Nothing, you don't have to suffer. Like I feel, and that's what I feel like a lot of people are also like, it's not that bad, or my like I'm not that anxious, or I'm not that depressed, but you don't actually know how bad it is because you're in it. And you only know when you're like not
Exactly.
in it anymore. In hindsight, you're like, yeah, that was really bad. But so
Yep.
being on medication and not having that postpartum anxiety of like, okay, now I can leave Evie, my that's my daughter's name for everyone listening, Evie, she's 7 weeks old. I can leave her with help with my mom. My mom's gone now. She left back for Florida. But I also have a postpartum doula that I hired, and I don't have anxiety leaving her with my doula or with my mom or with my husband, so I can get that help, which then is like a snowball effect, right? Like you have some help, you take some time for yourself, you sleep more, your mental health is better. Like it's all this like cycle, like it's like it's crazy.
Yeah, so I actually want to talk to you about the doula because I don't know anyone who's had a postpartum doula. So can you talk about your experience with her? Like, when does she come? Like, what's your schedule like? What does she help with? And how did you decide to do that this time around?
Yeah. So I didn't know anything about doulas or birth doulas or postpartum doulas the first time I got pregnant. And again, I think now there's a lot more conversation around what a doula is and how they support moms and birth. Although the first time around, I'm not even sure if I would have hired someone because I would have, maybe I thought I didn't need the help. Anyway, I had a birth doula who was amazing and supported me during birth. And then now I have a different doula. She's a postpartum doula. And what she does is she comes over and she is there to support the mother, basically. Like she's
I
not
love
there
that.
to do housework. She's not watching your older children for you. Like she's not a mother's helper, which is different. So a mother's helper will come and like do laundry, do housework, clean, etc. The postpartum doula is really specialized in that newborn care, which is what I wanted. So she will, for example, last night she came over and she took care of Evie while I went up because I was solo parenting. So she took care of Evie from 8 p.m. to midnight while I did bath and bedtime with my older son, read a book, and slept until
I love that.
11:45, and then I woke up and I took back over newborn care. So that's just an example. She also, and doulas, like they all have different specialties. Mine also cooks. So she makes nourishing postpartum meals for our like healing bodies. So she'll make me a
Oh my
soup.
gosh.
She'll send me a menu in the beginning of the week and be like, what do you think of this? Like, what do you like? So then I'll go and like get ingredients, or she'll go get ingredients for like some things that I pick. And then she'll make that for me when Evie's sleeping. So that
That
is,
is amazing.
I
I
know.
feel
Doesn't
like
that sound
everyone needs
amazing?
that. Yes, because like here's the thing. Like when you have a newborn, you're in the United States, like most of the time, like dads do not get I mean, they don't get any parental leave.
Yeah.
There are some companies, like I said, like the company I work for, there are some companies that offer that parental leave, but like for the most part, it's all mom. So even if you're bottle feeding your baby, like you are having to wake up every 2 hours
Yes.
and on your own, essentially, because your partner needs to go to work. And yes, they can help out and there's a lot of like different ways of doing it, but I feel like having like that shift, like you said, like the 8 to midnight, where your doula is caring for your newborn so that you can get sleep, so that you can be there for Archie and do bath and bedtime, especially in those days that you're solo. Like I feel like there is no greater gift than that, and that is amazing.
Yes.
Did your husband, like, was he like on board with that? Like when you brought it to his attention? Because I don't feel like this is a common thing. I've never heard of anyone having a postpartum doula, but maybe I'm just in my own world here. I don't know.
No, you're not. I think it's just kind of a newer. I mean, I think they've been around, but I don't think they've been as popular as they are starting to become now. And you can hire a postpartum doula. So you can hire one independently. Like you can just go on Google and search like postpartum doula in your area, or there's doula agencies too in your area that will have a bunch of doulas on staff and then will connect you with one. So actually, mine I found on Instagram of all things because I make all of my connections on Instagram. I'm sure we'll talk about this.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Um,
that.
but yeah. So, oh, my husband. Yeah. So I'm pretty lucky. He's really chill and kind of easygoing in terms of like whatever I want to do and whatever I need. I did ask him, like, not that I would ask for his permission about the birth doula, but I was like, I'm thinking about hiring this person. Like, what do you think? And he's like, I don't know. It's your birth. So you decide
Oh.
what you want. And I was like, that's right. It is my
Well,
birth.
yeah, and it's like mainly your experience, right? Like I mean, of course, he's your partner.
Of
He's,
course.
the father and like everything, and he's doing his part. But men are also like not given the opportunity to even stay home in a lot of cases, to spend time that with their child. I know my husband my ex-husband, when our second daughter was born, he was working. And he was even working for the government, and he did not get any time off because of that 1 year requirement for FMLA. And he worked for the government too, which is so crazy. So he went back to work. I think my daughter was born on like a Friday or something, and he went back to work either on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I think he took one vacation day
That
and
was
then
my
went back
husband
because he
too.
had to. Yeah.
Yeah. And it sounds
Yeah.
crazy, but that's like actual reality from I think a lot of dads. Most dads. I think paternity leave is kind of a new thing. And I think in some states they can qualify for a type of FMLA. I don't know. You have to check the laws in your state because it varies state by state. But yeah, my husband's a teacher, and so he got 2 days. 2 days.
Oh, jeez.
48. So, I
Oh,
mean,
48 hours. Oh, jeez.
yeah, which is again why I also hired this postpartum doula. And that was so the decision to hire someone was also because so the first time around, and I'm not talking shit about him. Like he was very open about this on my
Yeah.
podcast, where he, I think, experienced a little bit of male postpartum depression or dad postpartum depression because he like kind of disappeared with our first. Like he just wasn't around. Like he didn't help out. He didn't know how. I think, went through like a bit of an identity crisis, which just made him kind of disappear. And that was really tough on our marriage. And he didn't want a second child. That was actually a big fight that we had about like 2 to 2.5 years into our marriage because he's an only child. He doesn't know what life is like with siblings. I have a sister. I always knew I wanted multiple children, and that was also something we talked about when we first started dating as well. Of like we had the conversation of like I would like multiple kids. It was never discussed like we will only have one child. So when I felt like that decision was taken away from me, when he was like, "No, I only want one," that was a really big thing in our marriage. So finally, after a lot of back and forth, and we tried to go to a therapist, a couples therapist, but he legit was watching TV. It was through Talkspace. He was watching
Oh,
TV
I think I saw you talk about this on
on
social media,
Instagram.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
But anyway, but it was kind of funny because in a way that experience actually brought us closer because we were both like, what the F was that? We're here because we want to work on it. But anyway,
Oh my
so
God. I can't even imagine.
long story short, he like agreed and he's like, you're right. It's just like my own fears of like what having a sibling is like. And so we decided to have a second. And part of that decision was I was like, okay, if we do it again, I'm going to get help. We're going to have tons of support. I'm going to make this
Yeah.
as like as easy as having a newborn can be, like an easier process for all of us so that so nobody like feels like they don't have support. And I think
Right.
it's worked
Well, and I
because,
think,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was just going to ask that. I was just going to ask, like, what has his experience been like the second time around?
Well, I don't want to speak for him, but I think it's been a lot
Okay.
better. I've like
Yeah.
noticed I've noticed that he is more hands-on. I feel like he's more like loving with her than he was with Archie. And it's I mean now like my husband's definitely like a toddler dad because now of course they're best buddies and my
Yeah.
husband is my son's favorite person on earth. He's definitely a daddy's boy. He's like not a mommy's boy at all. So there it's all fine. And that I think if anyone's listening, like if your partner isn't like super hands-on with your baby right in the get-go, I'd say like don't worry about it too much because it can change as your child gets older and they have a more relationship with you. But second time around, I noticed that like John's a lot better. So, and I think that's
Yeah.
because of how much help and support we've had. So he doesn't feel like
Yeah.
suffocated by these duties. So, for example, when he gets home from work and he's tired and needs a nap, which is kind of like an LOL because I'm like home all day with the kids and it's like
Yeah.
I need a nap, but whatever. But
Right. Yeah. Get
all that
it.
aside, when he gets home and he needs a nap, I have enough fuel in the tank to be able to like grant him that so that
Yeah.
he can take a nap and when he gets up, he's able to show up as a dad. So I don't know, it's all a big snowball effect. Like whether when you have
Yeah.
support, not just supports you, but it supports your partner as well. And so I have my postpartum doula. I'm starting Bible study on Thursdays. It's coming up, and I talked to my doula, and I was like, "Will you come?" Like technically, she's not supposed to come. She's not a babysitter, so the point isn't for you to
Mm.
hire her and then for you to like leave and go to the gym or like go get your hair done and stuff. Like they're not a
Mm.
babysitter.
Okay.
It's for you to like take a nap, like catch up on light housework that you need to do or whatever. But I talked to her about it and I was like, well, it would really be like awesome if you could watch her, like my daughter, while I'm at Bible study. And she's like, of course, like I'm supporting you through that because you're doing something that fills your cup in a different way and
Right.
that is healthy for your spiritual mind. And so that will
Yeah.
be good. So that way John's not home with two kids by himself, which sounds like I'm shortchanged. It sounds like a certain way of like, oh, your husband or your partner should be able to be there.
No,
Yeah. Okay.
it's
Good.
hard.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
hard.
Good.
And like what I was
You
going to say,
understand.
like
Thank
going
you.
back. Yeah, of course. Well, and I mean, it's hard for anyone to be like a solo parent with two kids. But what I was going to say, like about John, and I don't think his experience is like, I think a lot of men go through this. Like,
Yeah.
think about it from like a woman's perspective. Like I did not ever get like this natural motherly instinct. Like with my first daughter, I was like, what do I do with you? Like, everyone told me like, "Oh, you'll just know what to do." And I was like, "I don't know what to do. Like,
I,
someone, can you just write me a list and just tell me like what to do?"
yeah.
But like, I'm the mother. Like, think about like as a father, like they're probably lost too. And they're like, I've never done this before. Like, I don't know how to support you and I don't know how to care for this baby. Like, someone tell me what to do. And they're a little bit more removed, from the child because they didn't birth the child or they're not the mother. It doesn't have to be that way,
Yeah.
but like I think that society has kind of painted it that way, right? So I think a lot of men go through that and they don't have the same type of like safe space to talk about it. So I think that's
100%.
really great that yeah, I think that's really great that you guys just like decided like let's, invest in our family and let's hire this postpartum doula because it's going to make our experience better. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. So I think that's awesome that you did that. The other thing I wanted to bring up, so I know you had a video that went viral not too long ago, right after you had your daughter.
Oh, I know this
And I
video. I
think
know
you
what you're
turned
gonna.
off the comments because I was looking at it the other day and I'm like, I wanted to look at the comments, but I'm pretty sure you turned them off. But
Can you
so
still see
so
them
it was
even
a
if the comments are off, or can you see the comments?
I clicked on I couldn't see any comments.
Oh,
Did you turn them
interesting.
off? Maybe like there's something glitchy with my phone. Did you turn them off?
No, I did turn them off because people
Okay.
were writing the craziest stuff. So I was like, I'm done. I can't like when I was getting comments like she's a 5 out of 10, our dude deserves better, or like I would
Yeah,
divorce
it's not
her,
cool.
TBH. And I love how they comment on, and you probably get this too, where they comment as if they're not commenting on like a human being's profile. They say
Yeah.
she's this, she's that, and that's like, wait, what?
Hmm.
I'm here.
Yeah.
You're talking about me in the
Yeah.
room. I'm
So
right here.
I know. So the video that we're talking about, so you guys will have to go to Lina's Instagram and check it out. But it was a video that she took after she had her second daughter in the hospital. And then so it said, like, I sent my husband home after the birth of our daughter. And I think people didn't understand that like you had another child at home, right?
Okay. Yes. Let me
Like people
read.
just didn't because once a video goes viral, it's like people who are viewing it are not people who know you. Like they don't follow
No.
you. They're just like random assholes like on the internet, you know?
What a great way to put it. Like with all the love. I mean that with all the
That's
love,
a
but
nice
yes.
way. That's actually a nice way to put it.
Okay, so the
You could
caption
say
to
a
my
lot worse
video,
things. Yeah.
it's me in the hospital and I am holding my daughter, just like it's dark, grainy, the crappiest cell phone quality you've ever seen. And it says POV, you send your husband home after giving birth so you get to spend all night by yourself bonding with your new baby. And the context is I was on a high. Like I just given birth, my epidural didn't work, so I had no drugs in my system.
Oh
And
my God.
it, it was, and I was just on a high after having, I felt so confident and so good and not anxious and happy because I felt like I was reclaiming my postpartum experience, right? We just talked about this. And my husband and I had chatted beforehand and we'd said like I'm like if everything goes well, I don't need a C-section and I feel confident, I'm okay if you go home and sleep well so that you can show up the next morning with Archie. We talked about this beforehand. And then that night at the hospital, it was exactly that conversation of like, he's like, "Are you okay? Like, how are you doing?" I was like, "I'm good. If you want to get out of here, I'm Gucci. Like, I can handle this." And it felt like it was such an empowering moment. And then social media interpreted it in a completely different way. It has 10.6 million views
Oh,
on
jeez.
Instagram, which sounds fantastic, but it's actually terrifying because, like you said, it's not people who know you. And I'm so used to like, I have a tight, like, small community where, like, I feel like most people that are viewing my stuff all listen to my podcast. They know me, but people who are viewing it are insane. I don't know if I can. Oh, yeah, it says zero comments because I turned it off. And I
Yeah,
actually,
I'm
so
sure because you're probably getting like just the most horrendous comments from people because I think people were interpreting it as you weren't allowing your husband to bond with your daughter,
yes, I kept
right?
getting so many. It was mostly like first time moms. I wonder if I have screenshots of some of them, but it was mostly first time moms that were like, he deserves to bond with your daughter. How dare you take this experience away from him? Golden hour is so important for your daughter. It's so important for your daughter to have a father figure. It was like, they made it
Oh
sound
my
like
God.
I gave birth, I kicked him out, and he was like crying outside, wanting to bond with her, and I was this evil woman. It was the
Well, and it's not like
craziest
you can
stuff.
just bond, like, it's not like the only time you can bond with your newborn baby is in
Preach.
like that first night that, like, I know from my own personal experience, like, both times postpartum, like, I don't know if I would say like my ex-husband like necessarily like bonded with my baby. Like we like, I was feeding her, like trying to breastfeed her and like but then we would just like put her in that little bassinet, swaddle her up and put her in the bassinet and try to get some sleep, because we
Yeah.
would have to wake back up in 2 hours to try to feed her again, right? So it wasn't like we were doing skin to skin the whole night or anything.
No, right. So this is one of the comments, but he deserves to bond with baby too. It's also his child. This makes me sad. I get where you're coming from, but it seems a little selfish, especially when we as women are always preaching about how men don't have the same expectations as fathers as we do mothers. And
Yeah.
that was kind of the theme of like all of the comments. And I think it has so many views, not for the reason why I wanted to post it, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah, because you're
to me,
probably trying to empower women and like that, and especially because you were on this high and you accomplished this thing. You gave birth without an epidural, which I didn't even know that you did that. I didn't even ask you about your birthing experience, but that is like I can't even imagine like the way that would feel after accomplishing something like that. Like I just birthed this child without any medication. Like
yeah, well, I
I'm a
asked for
fucking
medication.
rock star, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's what it felt like because I was like, I didn't want intervention, but then like I was induced with Pitocin, which I don't know what your experiences were like, but when you have
Yeah.
Pitocin contractions are insane. So I had asked for it. Little did we know, when I asked for the epidural, I was already in transition, which means I was fully dilated, but no one checked my cervix to tell me that. So by the time he
Oh
was
no.
done tapping my back, and he's like, he lifted it. He's like, I'm good. I'm done. I was like, I have to push. So like I had to push right when he was done.
Oh,
And there was like,
so you didn't even, wasn't even like effective, like when you
no,
needed it.
no,
Oh,
no,
dang.
exactly. Yeah. So
I would have lost my mind. I don't feel like I'm mentally strong enough to do that, dude. Like I would be a disaster.
oh, it was bad. It was I would
Yeah.
not, I have to say, like, honestly, if I had to do it again, if I was being induced again with Pitocin, I'd probably just say, give me the epidural again. Like, it was cute. Everyone talks about like medication-free birth. It's cute, but it's a lot. I feel like no one goes
Yeah.
home with a medal with it. But of course, I get,
Yeah.
yeah. But
But we should.
yeah.
We all should, no matter what.
Yeah. Do you get
Yeah.
crazy
Well,
comments on your social media too? Like, do you get like how do you deal
so
with that?
yeah, so only when my video goes like very, very viral, I'll get like rude comments or something. But for the most part, like most of my videos, they don't go super viral. But when they do, yeah, like if it hits the wrong, like sometimes I'm like, how did the algorithm like feed this video, like my mom account to like all these men? And they're always
Yes.
men,
Yep.
like just angry men. And I'm just like, I mean, nothing against men. Like men are great. I have like a lot of male followers and like single dads and stuff that like I've connected with and it's great. But there are just some very angry men out there. And I'm like, I don't know what happened here. I just ignore them. Once it gets to that point, like, I'm not even looking at the comments on this video anymore?
My sister is a YouTuber. She has 600 something 600,000 subscribers. Like she's a
Oh,
pretty big
wow.
YouTuber. It's her full-time job.
Yeah.
And what we were talking about was with hers, because she gets crazy comments on hers too. And what she has explained is like in the first 24 hours of your video being posted, it goes to your audience. So that's why, like, in the beginning, we get like nice comments like, oh, how beautiful.
Yeah.
And oh, what a special moment. Oh, and then after that 24-hour mark, if the algorithm picks up your video and sends you out like a wave, then it gets sent out to people who don't know you, like you said, and like the weird
Just a
people.
bunch of random
And
people that have nothing in common with you.
and that's when you get the comments that are like, F you, you stupid.
Yeah, you're a bad mom, or I've had some on like where I've posted about like my divorce and stuff, and people are like just saying
Oh,
the
I'm sure
rudest
people
comments. Like,
love to judge
I
you on
I
that.
just roll my eyes. I'm like, you are projecting your own issues onto my life. Like, don't even. So you just have to laugh at comments like that and can't take them seriously.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, but I remember having a moment where I was like, if this is what it feels like to like go big, I don't think I want to go big. Because but then I like
Yeah,
now
I know.
but now I'm
Right.
like but now after having gone through that experience, I'm like, all right, I get it. I can handle it. It's fine. Like it's the
Yeah.
internet. Like I do in a way sign up for this. Like I don't, well, that's like a weird, I don't know. So
I
many
mean, you
thoughts.
do, but also like you're still a human at the end of the day. Like that doesn't mean that you just deserve to be verbally abused.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Like
Yes.
right. Human decency. Like we
Yeah.
don't go out into the world. Like this is stuff people would never say to your face. That's just the truth of it.
No,
Yeah.
ever. Yeah, ever. Yeah, it's wild. So yeah, just block those people if they're following you, if they're being assholes, or just don't look at the comments. So
Goodbye.
cool. Well, yeah, I know your time is so valuable with your two little ones. You said that both of them are home. What's the weather like in New Jersey? Are schools closed? I know a lot of schools are closed right now.
Yes.
Is it
School's
like a negative
closed.
something?
It's I don't know what the weather is like, but my husband's school got canceled. Archie's
Mm,
preschool slash daycare got canceled, so everyone's home. It's a snow day, so it's
dang.
nice. Yeah,
Ah,
cozy
yeah.
snow. What about you guys in Utah?
Yeah, so
You in
we're
Salt Lake City?
no, it's yeah, I'm in Salt Lake City, so a suburb of suburb of Salt Lake City, just like 20 minutes south. We have snow outside, but it's sunny. Like I think it's like 20
Beautiful.
degrees, so it's cold, but like schools aren't closed or anything like that. We're not having a blizzard or anything. So I definitely feel I know a lot of people are having extreme weather right now. So I feel for you guys.
I know. Did you grow up around there?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I grew up in Salt Lake City. Yeah, the area of Salt Lake City. I've always lived in Utah. So
What a
yeah, that's all
beautiful
I kind of know.
That's cool. What a beautiful place to live. Like I've seen pictures. I haven't been, but I'd love to go one day.
Yeah, it's beautiful. The mountains. I mean, I feel like I take them for granted because I'm just so used to them being there. But sometimes, like yesterday, I was looking at the mountains and they were just like freshly snowed on, and so they just looked beautiful. And they're just these
Mm-hmm.
massive mountains, and I definitely take it for granted. But I love living here. Honestly, it's not bad at all. Except for I don't like the winter like super much, but that's all right.
So you just
Um,
launched your podcast. What can we
yeah.
expect from the rest of your show? Like, are you gonna do like seasons, or are you gonna have it kind of go like what can we
I think so. I don't know about seasons. I did think about that, but I didn't ever make like a definitive or like I didn't decide on anything for like a season. But yeah, I'm just gonna be releasing an episode once a week, a combination of guest interviews like this one, and then also some solo episodes where I'm just kind of chatting and just talking about, I don't know, whatever's on my mind. Just talking about mom stuff, parent stuff, like the just kind of an extension of what I talk about on social media is the plan.
Oh, I love it. It's such like a more intimate
Yeah,
way to have someone like connect with someone. Like it's just so much more like personal and intimate. I love podcasts. I cannot wait to listen to like all the episodes that you come out with. You're gonna be in my
I
weekly
know.
rotation. I'm so amped.
Yeah, well, and it released yesterday. I released like my trailer and then two episodes today. And yeah, so I'm excited. Like yesterday when we like released the episode and it went live, like I literally felt like I was so excited, but I was like, I'm gonna throw up. Like because it's different putting yourself out there like in a different format from what you're used to. And I'm sure that you can relate to that as well because you've had your podcast for what, 2 years or 2 or 3 years?
Yeah. Yeah, actually three years now. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, three. Whoa.
So
Yeah.
are you still podcasting now? Are you still doing interviews like during your postpartum period, or are you waiting until like you officially go back to work?
I think I'm gonna start soon, like having interviews again, but I content banked. So I do have episodes going live weekly still. But it is kind of funny
Oh,
because
awesome.
in the episodes I'll say like I'm 32 weeks pregnant. So it's a little like untimely,
Yeah.
but it's still new content. So I planned that on purpose
Yeah.
because I didn't want to take a break. But yeah, I think I'm gonna resume doing interviews again soon. And then tomorrow I have like a postpartum experience solo episode going live. So yeah, it's been
Awesome.
it's
I'm
been
gonna listen to
fun.
that. That sounds great.
Yeah, it's been fun. I just put it out. I put it all out there. Kind of like you, like I'm an open book. I don't have any
Yeah.
shame in talking about any of it.
Yeah.
I think it's just fun. It's like it's
Yeah.
just nice to connect with people on a shared experience.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you can relate to this too, but like when you get messages from people that are just like, this really helped me, like this thing that you said or this thing that you posted. And like, there's nothing better than that. And that's how I feel about your podcast. Like, I really do feel like your podcast helped me in my second maternity leave. Like, I just binged it. And I feel like that's right when people started being really honest, like the honest motherhood kind of
Mm-hmm.
became more talked about and it's just so validating. And so yeah, go follow Lina over her podcast. It's the New Mamas podcast. And then your handle on Instagram, what is your handle exactly? I don't want to mess it up.
No, it's just my name. It's at Lina Forrestal, LinaForrestal. So yeah, drop into my DMs, say hi. Would love
Yeah.
to meet you. Yeah, lots of
I'll add
fun.
her info to to the show notes as well. So you can easily just go and like click and go give her a follow and go follow her show because it's amazing. Like honestly, like I love everything that you're doing. You're an incredible woman, businesswoman. Like like you're doing it all, and I just appreciate you and thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yay. Thank you so much, Caitlin.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. I wasn't sure where you ended, but where you're going to
Oh no,
cut.
you're good.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was so
Yeah.
much fun.
I know that was fun.
Hopefully I
Oh my
wasn't too
gosh, I can't
like ADHD like topics. So hopefully I wasn't like deep, deep, deep,
no,
deep, 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 deep.
no, I don't think so at all. And like that's how my brain works too, is like always like all over the place. So I think it was like very like I loved everything that we talked about.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Yeah, and I want you on my show
Yes.
too. Wait, so okay, good. You already
I would love that.
launched. So I am going to
Yeah, I
add,
launched, yeah,
yeah.
last night and then today 2 episodes launched. So I think for this episode, I might release it next. So every Tuesday, I'm going to release one. I might release this one next Tuesday.
Okay, whenever.
So
Just let me know.
yeah,
I have
yeah,
to share. I want to
yeah.
share about
I
your
need to
show
get,
today though. Like she just launched. Did you do I've been Did you do
yeah,
like a big I just
yeah, I
launched
have a,
post?
yeah, I posted like a giveaway today for people to go and like follow the show. That's what my editor like recommended, to go get like follows and stuff over in the podcast, to encourage that. So I posted like a
Oh,
little
I see it.
giveaway that I'll do. Yeah.
Cute, smart. That's a great
So
idea. I love that. Okay.
I didn't even think about it. And then yesterday she was like, "Are you going to do a giveaway?" I'm like, "Oh, I hadn't even thought about that." And she's like, "Yeah, it's just a good way to like get people to go and like follow the show on the podcast." Cause I guess that's like the big thing that they look at. Like in the
Yeah, are you
like I don't know anything about like stats or anything on podcasting. So I'm just like, okay, I'll just do it, I guess.
It is so different, this world, than like the social media world, like when it comes to like monetizing and stuff. My experience has been like you don't make much money until you get like thousands and thousands of downloads. So, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That that could just
Are
be
you making money? How do you, I don't even know. I don't know anything. I'm just like, I'm just launching this podcast. I have no idea what I'm doing, but
I've
um,
I've run a few ads. Like I've done some host reads. So the way it's like you could do a host read where like you've probably heard it on like Call Her Daddy or whatever when she's like this lip balm whatever is so good, my lips are dry, and it's like you talking about it on your show. And then there's like just a an ad read where it's like an insert of
yeah.
someone else's ad, and
Yeah.
those are like pennies on the download. It goes like per download, like it'll say like 41 cents per download or whatever. And then other
Oh,
ones
dang.
like the sponsored like host reads, you can pitch kind of like an Instagram post like I'll do 250 per like ad read, and like I've done it where I'm like okay, I'll do 250 per episode. It'll stay there forever, like it's not going to get edited out, but you have to book 4 episodes with me or something like that. If you book 4, I'll get do it for like I'll give a deal, whatever, like I'll knock off
And that's
$50.
actually like they send you a script and basically you're just reading it though.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
you read it.
difference. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't done that a
Okay.
lot though because honestly, just like time, like I don't know if you have like a
Yeah.
producer that will like pitch you and like land deals for you because as you know it's like a lot of work to pitch and
So much
land
work.
and
Yeah.
contract back and forth and all that. People are like, why don't
Yeah.
you should have so many ads on your show, and I'm like I probably should, but I just don't have the
Yeah.
time to like
It's
actually
so
do
much and
it.
so overwhelming. Yeah, I have a manager that does like my social media
Oh,
brand deals. Like I'm
wonderful.
like, because it just got to the point where I was like, I can't do this. Like I don't have the
No.
time, like the mental energy. So like I will pay someone and like give
Yes.
them a commission to like handle all of that administrative stuff and like handle my emails. But I don't know. I need to talk to them about, yeah, at some point, maybe trying to like get some podcasts, like pitch me for the podcast for
Yeah.
ads or something like that. So we'll probably do that at some point, but we haven't yet.
Yeah, like have
Um,
it her or him add it to your media kit, right? Like as part of
yeah,
if they send out a media kit. But I know but it's really like so good for like what I found is like it's funny because I'm gonna oh sorry, and then I'll let you go. I'm friends with a lot
you're
of
okay. No,
podcasters, and a lot of podcasters are think that it's my social media following that makes my podcast successful. And I'm like, it's actually kind of the opposite. Like I get more people from my podcast to my social media than vice versa. Like it's just
Really?
very, yeah, it's
Yeah.
very interesting. Oh yeah, like my tips are not that you probably need them, but SEO I found and
No, I do.
titles. The titles and descriptions, like SEO, seems to be really important. Like when I put in things like postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression, PPA, like I'll like spell things out. Like my titles are pretty like ridiculous, and it's because I'm kind of trying to keyword stuff them. So, and it has
No, that's
worked.
smart because I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about like I was just writing, yeah, like my show notes and like everything. Just I wasn't even thinking about that. So that's good to know for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's
Is that how
worked.
people find you? Is just through Google? Do you know? Is it through like a Google search or did they just search on like the podcast platform?
What I've heard from people is that because I'll ask them like, so how did you find my show? And they're like, I stumbled upon it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. They'll
Mm.
type in like breastfeeding or something. I actually don't have any episodes on breastfeeding, shockingly, but they'll write in a
Oh man, I
keyword.
need one like that. Talks
I
about
know.
it.
But so I think like one girl was like, I typed in postpartum depression and like your show came up with like tons of episodes. So I was like,
Oh,
oh, fascinating. Oh, and
good to
reviews.
know. Okay.
I
Reviews,
heard
yeah.
that reviews help a lot too. Although I don't know, I'm not sure how true that is, but I'm sure it can't hurt.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, that's what my editor said. Like reviews are pretty important as well. And so, yeah, hopefully I get some positive reviews, not negative reviews.
I know, right? With like I know I have like one or two like 1 star, 2 star reviews on Apple and I'm like, I wish they wrote something because I actually wouldn't mind the feedback. Like give me feedback.
Yeah.
Like am I annoying? Tell me so I can change it.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Man, I re-listened to like my episodes yesterday that released today and I'm like, I hate myself. Like
No.
you know what I mean?
It's
Not
weird
really.
at
That's like an
first.
exaggeration, but like I feel like we're our own worst critic
Yep.
where we can like I know that's how I am. I'm like just picking myself apart and I'm like I need to work on like allowing myself to be imperfect, and like being okay with it.
Preach. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the
It's hard.
problem with like the overachieving, high achieving like moms too, is like we just like nitpick everything about ourselves, which is
Yeah.
bad. Yeah. Well, I'm
Yeah.
excited for you
Yeah,
and I'll
it's not
send
good.
you when I start
Thank you so much.
yeah, when I start guesting again, I'll like send you a link and would love to have you on. I haven't done an
Okay.
episode on mommy, I hate that word, but like motherhood creators yet. And I feel like that would
Okay.
be fascinating if you wanted to like do like I don't know. I'm still thinking about like a concept, but yeah, I'll
Yeah.
have
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, I'm totally down and yeah, I appreciate you being on the podcast. Like I said, like you were like the first person that I connected with that was a content creator and I feel like I would like reach out to you like when I was first getting like brand deals and like I think I like one of the first brand deals I did, I only got like $100 from and I told like I think I like told you about it and you were like, "No,
and I
like
was like,
don't do
what?
that."
Yeah, I was like, what the no, wait, didn't I hire you for one
Yeah.
too for WebEx too? I think I did.
Yeah,
And I
you
think
did. Yeah, and you like I got it was like such a good like partnership and but I was like
yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. And so you were like the first creator friend that I had and I kind of leaned on you a lot and was like, "Hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, do you have any help and like guidance for this?" And you did really help me.
Oh, good. Yeah, I remember I think you were
Yeah.
like, I'll do it for like 300 and I was like, our budget's 800, so here you go.
Yeah. So just
I
say that. Yeah.
yeah, I hated I was like
I
I
love
was with
that.
that with like all the creators I worked with. I was like, y'all need to charge more. So,
Well, it's hard. It's hard. Like, it's just some brands will pay and some won't. Like, I've had brands
yeah.
like basically like laugh in my face and be like, that's ridiculous. There was like one in particular, like the lady was such a bitch. But yeah, basically just like laughed in my face on my rates. And I'm like, this
Ew.
is what my rates are. Like, this, like, take it or leave it. Like,
Yeah, I'm
I'm
not
not going to
going
do a deal for $250, like, when you want all of these deliverables and like,
one reel,
especially when you
one
respond to me
carousel.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the one
Yeah.
reel, one 10 photo carousel, 15 Instagram stories, like all this like shit. And I'm like,
I know. And we want to own the rights forever. I'm like, no,
oh
I don't
yeah,
think
oops,
so.
I forgot to end the recording. Let me